but now I'm kind of enjoy FF14 a little bit more. I think it's because the storyline in FF14 centers around you instead of in World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, you're technically the main character, but you're technically not the main character at the same time. It's a semi-weird situation. Oh. Where the player character is not really treated as the primary protagonist. It's actually like a group of players that is considered the primary protagonists. And even then, like usually it's like adventurers of the Alliance or adventurers of the Horde get the credit because the story kind of revolves around a two-faction system, although that two-faction system kind of has gone away by the end of Dragonflight, where now it's just your adventurers of Azeroth. You go back to Southern Thanalan. So yeah. Just the minor things that I've noticed, because you really didn't become like, you weren't really noted until probably, well, actually, I would say Mists of Pandaria is kind of when they started doing the you are the main character, because you are sent out with a small group. Like, you were tasked, at least for the Alliance, you are tasked by King Varian Wrynn, when he was alive, to go find his son, who was presumed who was missing on off the coasts of Pandaria, and you were one of the people that he quote unquote trusted because you helped with the dilemma of Deathwing. In the beginning, each expansion, either there wasn't really the main story associated with this is in World of Warcraft. Main story didn't really consist of what the next expansion was going to be about. Maybe the next patch, but not really necessarily the next expansion. Or at least the stories didn't really converge from expansion to expansion. Classic didn't really give the story of why Illidan was attacking from the beginning to not to Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade didn't really tell you that the Lich King was going to attack. And then Wrath of the Lich King really didn't give any sense of what the next expansion was going to be. And that was when I would officially say that that's Azeroth's first real, like, cataclysmic and new player experience change. Same as how from FF14 1.0 to 2.0 gave a completely different storyline and new player experience. World of Warcraft's new player experience was different in Cataclysm. Mists was still like the next expansion, Mists of Pandaria, didn't it's there were consequences of Deathwing doing what he did, which is what was explained why we could now go to Mists of Pandaria, or go to Pandaria, is because the mists was dispersing. But even then, it's still one of those things that a lot of people don't like. The Final Fantasy 14 team usually give hints on what the next expansion is going to be and where we're going with the next expansion. Like in 6.4, we're going to find out where we're going for 7.0, I assume. So we're going to find out what we're going to be doing for 7.0. Lower Lonosa? For World of Warcraft, we really don't get the sense of who the next get the sense of who the next, not who the next big bad is, but who the next enemy is going to be for the next expansion, or where we're going for the next expansion. Like for Shadowlands, but the only time that I could really say that we knew where we were going is we had a feeling we were going to the Shadowlands from BFA to Shadowlands. That was kind of the one. Come on. The one limiting thing is that we knew we were going to the Shadowlands, but there was really no hint of it, because usually the pre-patch is what gives you what's going on and how everything's happening and all that. There's not really a thing that tells you what's going on. So that's kind of like just the story differences between World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. Because Final Fantasy XIV, I believe at the end of 2.4, you knew exactly you were going to Ishgard. Heavensward was sending you to Ishgard. So there's that. And technically, like, many of the games had storylines that many of the expansions had. At least this is what happened with Warlords, is that Mists of Pandaria to Warlords had a whole book in between, which kind of alienated a bunch of people, because you had to go get a whole new third out-of-game item that told you exactly what you were going to be doing in the next expansion. Like, how did Garrosh get out of prison, all that other stuff. But I believe Blizzard has changed their ideas. But I also will say that the story for FF14 is more condensed, not condensed, more straightforward. You are the main character. You are the centerpiece of all the action that's going on. World of Warcraft, really, you are kind of just a cog in a machine of different adventurers, and it's presumed that you are doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. I mean, in FF14 you are too, but it's presumed that with enough people doing these same things, you would be able to get everything done. I will be right back. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the differences between the player character in FF14 and the player character in... Well, where was I? Kind of discussing, like, what the major differences were. The major differences were, like... Oh yeah. The player character in World of Warcraft is kind of just like a person in the machine of different goings-ons. The player character is not necessarily the protagonist, but is sometimes just a supporting character for most of the expansion, and not necessarily an actual protagonist. But yeah. At least that's what it was, like, Wrath of the Lich King. Probably Cataclysm was the last time that you're really not considered the main character, or a main character. You're more of a supporting character. Because, the only real... I would say that the only real enemies that the player character fights and ends up killing are... Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think the player characters have ever really killed anyone. Let me think. Final boss of... Okay, so final boss of the Black Temp. Kil'jaeden was never killed, So final boss of the Burning Crusade, killed Jaden, wasn't killed. Final boss of final boss of Wrath of the Lich King was killed by Tyrion. Final boss of I'm just going through my motions of trying to figure out who was killed and who wasn't. Deathwing wasn't killed by Yuke, was killed by Thrall. Garrosh wasn't killed by you, he was imprisoned. Warlords of Draenor Garrosh was actually killed by Thrall and Mot Garah. Warlords of Draenor final enemy was killed Jaden and Gul'dan. Gul'dan wasn't killed until a dungeon. That I believe you actually killed him. Sargeras was imprisoned, not by you. I guess you could say that technically we did. Did I go to the right location? I did. I guess you could say that the primary destination was you did do what you were supposed to. Like the main evil, big bad evil guys. Oh, and Illidan came back in Legion, so Legion technically said that no, you didn't kill Illidan in the Black Temple. Illidan wasn't killed, which is okay. Shadowlands. Actually, the Jailer is the first. No, my bad. BFA. Technically, we don't kill Enzoth. We're kind of just the vessel that allows us. It gets us to allow us to kill Enzoth. And even then, Enzoth technically wasn't killed by us. It was killed by Azeroth herself. But yeah. And then, okay, I was reading that because I couldn't skip it. But then my brain has gone on the fritz again. Okay, so the first actual like main bad guy that we've actually killed with weapons that we've created was in Shadowlands. It was the Jailer. The Jailer was the one person that we've actually killed. I wouldn't say necessarily that he's the only big bad evil guy that we've killed, but he's the first one that we've killed that I can think of that the adventurers of the Alliance and the Horde have actually killed without another main character kind of stealing the spotlight. Yeah, because Sylvanas doesn't come in and just sweep us under the rug and take our kill. Technically, as many people would probably call it. I was supposed to go to East Shroud. Why am I in North? Am I in? I am in East Shroud. Oh, it's over there. Okay, so yeah, that's the kind of thing that I've kind of noticed. Because in FF14, it's presumed that the Warrior of Light is the one who went through every single dungeon with a group of adventurers and of equal strength, went in and defeated all of the enemies. So yeah. Ugh. Yeah, it's kind of just the main difference is that the Warrior of Light, God, it's good. But yeah, that's kind of what I've just noticed. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely different in that. And in Dragonflight, I'm not 100% certain where the story is going to go in Dragonflight, but the Dragonflight has kind of like did what Endwalker did. What Endwalker's 6.1 through 6.3 patches have done is that we are adventurers just doing adventurers thing. We are adventurers. Kind of just doing exploration, and kind of we stumbled into a plot that we shouldn't have. It's the same way as in Dragonflight, is that you kind of come over thinking that, oh, there's a new area to explore, so we can go ahead and explore that area so that we're not having to really worry about anyone else doing it. And we're doing it alongside the Horde for kind of the first time where the Horde and the Alliance are actually on semi-decent terms and not on warmongering terms. Because in I would say that after Warlords of Draenor kind of was the same way, but the Alliance and the Horde were still kind of hostile towards each other. Legion, they both had a common goal. There was really no need for warmongering. And then after that, it like Sylvanas started another war over the new ore that they found recently after the sword had been plunged into Azeroth. Sword of Sargeras in Silithus. So yeah, world has kind of changed a lot since then. Now level 18. Career. Probably only goes up to level 50.